Hi, we're the BookToktors. I'm AK Mulford.
And I'm Ann Kemp, and we are here to help authors on their social media journey. We want you to build community, have fun, and sell more books.
If you want even more social media support and bonus content, you can join our community at patreon.com/BookToktors. Like doctors.
BookToktors.
And today's episode is all about our patrons because we'll be answering questions from our Patreon members. There's certain tiers our patrons can ask questions for us to deep dive on the show, and we've got quite a few good ones this week. So
Really
I'm
do.
really excited. Yeah, every month we'll be doing a Patreon questions deep dive. So if you want your questions definitely answered, make sure you go check out our Patreon page.
Yes. I tell you, I'll put the first question up, but hold on, my dog just knocked at the door.
I feel like every episode so far we've had some sort of animal or child interference. So that'll just be part of the show. Drink if you take a dog or child.
Take a drink if our personal life comes onto the podcast, because it will. Yep. One of us will have an interruption at some point, and we like it because it just is its life.
This is what we're all about, is finding ways to be sustainable with the things that we do and be able to have that balance. So we're walking the talk.
Yeah, we definitely are, especially like if you catch Allie when she's trying to like feed the kids and do all
cereal and podcast.
Exactly, do all the things. And pretty soon I'll probably be out walking the dog while we're doing some of these, like once I get a better phone, because I'll actually have a little bit more battery as well as like just memory in it to have things. I'll be able to, like,
I hope that it feels real to people then too, because they really are just
with us
in on the chat with us. It's like they're having a cup of coffee or something and hanging out with us as we talk about book talk. So,
which is what would happen if they were with us in person, because we all roads lead back to these conversations, because you and I will strategize and chat about these things and also like pick apart, and like it's like taking the puzzle apart and putting it back together. And I love it because it's just we're both nerdy about it. And when you find another nerd that'll talk to you about this stuff, it's so great.
I love getting nerdy about TikTok. TikTok and books. So BookTok, all my favorite things. Yeah.
Or should I start? Should I pull up one of these?
Yeah. You have the list of questions. So read us the one from our first patron. Also, we should have a drink if you hear an Australian bird squawking.
Oh, the bird squawks or door slams here, because Glenn loves to go by, and our doors, for some reason, the house is so thin, he closes a door and like they hear it in Antarctica. It's so loud. Those are your drinking game.
Yeah, there you go. Bingo card of the BookToktors podcast.
Yeah. So one of our first questions was about batching and being strategic with your batching. What do you guys do? Do you do a mix so they all don't feel the same? Are you looking at mixing up virals, duets, and stitches with going in deep with your book, or surface of the book, personal? What is that strategy when you were looking at batching?
My strategy is pretty lazy. It originated when I would batch content while sitting on the couch with my youngest watching The Wiggles. And so, now I could maybe change my shirt or put a sweater on or change my glasses. Sometimes I'll put my hair up or take it down just so it looks like time has passed since the previous one. But then I realized especially when I was still living in New Zealand, I'd wear the same hoodie every day. Yeah. So it didn't matter anyway. But you know what I do, because I'm lazy, is I'll change the filter. So like it'll be a different makeup filter or like a lip color or something, so it looks slightly different than the previous one. But to be honest, people don't care. They don't notice if it looks different. It's not something that they notice, and also they're probably getting that content a day later, after seeing hundreds of other videos. So and actually there's something to be said for keeping your look somewhat consistent to the point that people know it's you. So I used to do a lot more with like filters where I'd change my eye color and freckles and all of these things. And now, unless I'm doing like a sound where two people are talking to each other, like one of them will be that, but I won't just use that normally now because people recognize my face, my followers. And if it looks too different, it's kind of like almost jarring, you know, if it looks too different than the normal me. So yeah, so that's a weird little thing, but that's something I think about. So I don't think you have to worry too much about your content looking different. And a lot of times with batching for me, I will, you know, if I'm scrolling through TikTok at night, I'll save a bunch of sounds or just write down a bunch of ideas. And then in 20 minutes, I will do, you know, 10 videos, and then just have those all saved for the next week or so. So that's usually how I do it, is I save up all the things that I want to be doing and then just record them all at once. So how about you? What do you do?
Mine is, so I live in such a great area between being a pantser and a planner that it's like, I like, it looks
Planter.
organized, but there is like, yeah, such a planter that like, I just kind of look at it and I just put a bunch of drafts in there. It depends. I'll get struck by a sound usually. And so I might grab the sound. Sometimes it's a filter someone has that comes with the sound. Like, oh, cause I'm like you, I found a filter I like. I know that the brand recognition is important. And so I like keeping it the same, but every now and then I like having a video, maybe popping a filter in like in the middle of it, or just
Yeah.
doing something different just for that experimenting. But this is actually what I'm working on tomorrow, is because I've got that launch plan that I'm working on for this month.
Yeah.
This is my social strategy notes. I've been
Oh, wow.
2 pages.
People who are watching on YouTube will be able to see your
Yeah. 2 big pages, A4 or 8x10s if you're in the States, where I've been making notes about my social strategy and planning. How I'll be doing my pump the gas plan for TikTok, which, you guys, if you haven't listened to episode 2, I think it is our hype.
three.
It's
Episode 3.
episode 3
Our
is
hype
the
mode.
hype mode
episode.
for BookTok. And I tell you, that was a great conversation. And I've been trying to put a lot of this down so that I can start batching this weekend with an actual plan, just to see what that looks like, and to log it as part of, you know, the conversation to have on here, going like, oh, here's what I saw that changed when I had this. But yeah, it's very much what I like. If I like a song, like all of the T Swift songs right now coming on, like
Yes, I have a bunch of those sounds saved. I
yeah,
don't know what I'll use them for yet. Oh, I did post one today.
which
The
do you use?
like the "It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me." And I think the thing I put above my head is leaving teasers to the next book for a book that hasn't released yet,
Yes.
or like something like that. And then it's like, I'm the problem. It's the
There's
sound.
so many, like listening to those, to certain songs and certain sounds, that you get inspired by it. And then when you go in, and you can go into that deep dive search to see what other people are posting. And it's so much fun to just get in there. But yeah, I end up just pulling things that really strike me at the moment, that are about mood. And then I make a note on that post, because half the time it might just be I've grabbed the sound or whatever the thing is, and I'll make a note so it reminds me when I come back. Because
How
inevitably,
many drafts do you have?
I've only got about 50 at this moment, and I feel like I've had more. It's like I feel like
I love how 50 is like
like how many?
a very tight number. I have 116. Although, I mean, I need to go through and delete a bunch of them because the trends have passed and I probably won't use them now. Like, it's too long ago in the past that sound was a trend. Some sounds are like, you know, evergreen and they will always be popular and you can use them whenever. And then others are just only hot for a minute. So I'll probably delete a bunch of those. Most of my drafts are just like the ceiling or just like my face close up with a note that says what the sound is. So I haven't actually recorded them yet. Or if I want to duet a video, like if somebody sends me a thigh thirst trap, I'll duet it of just like me staring at in my face, and then I'll re-record it.
But those are, even I've noticed too, like the duets. I can be sitting on the couch while my husband's watching the news or TV, like before I'm like waiting for him to get done with what he's doing. And I'll just be having phone time, and I'll sit there and I'll sometimes do like 5 duets at that time, because they'll pop up and I'm like, oh, I can just sit here and I'm able to react at this moment to a duet. and bank that and stick that off to the side. But yeah, it's amazing what you figure out that you can do and what time you have, so that it just makes the process that much smoother the next time you go into the app and go, I have to post. Well, yeah, I have to post, but look, I already have some stuff here waiting for me.
Yeah. And I do a bit of a mixture between me talking and me lip syncing or me reacting, duetting. I think those are probably my top 3 videos that you'll see each week from me, is a duet of another video, me talking, just my voice talking about something, and me lip syncing to a trending sound. Like those are the 3 I do the most. And then you also and have like some more like page flips and aesthetics and other things in there as well.
Yeah, I do. It's just saying probably every 2 weeks I do one where I'm talking to
Mm,
people. I save those now for different times to fire
mm,
people up with something. Um, like hype lever, because of giveaway stuff,
yes.
I'll be definitely talking, but it's about the sounds, and I like doing the aesthetics. Like I was actually just making some notes today to do some aesthetics for Christmas, because it's a Christmas book that's coming out, and I've been writing as I was editing. I pulled out parts of the story that either I or the other person who was reading it, I asked them what struck you, so that way I know. So I'm
Mm,
pulling out bits of the story so I can use that. And what I do with that, just copy and paste into my notes on my computer, which is amazing, and it syncs magically to my iPhone, so I can copy and paste from there. So I get my aesthetic video, which will probably be some kind of Christmas yumminess of a Christmas scene. um, Lucky for me, one of my friends here, her daughters are putting up Christmas already. And so I said, I will be coming by to film things because you've got your stockings hung up already. I went into a Christmas store in Wellington recently. Went in just for the purpose of filming for TikTok. I went in and got some Christmas ornaments, so I'm prepared. So yeah, just getting
I
this kind of
love
like to give to just to add, because there are people that I know that follow me that want to read a little, but I know
Yeah.
that there are other people that want to have fun like I do, and like have
Mhm.
the fun little videos come up, and doing something
I
with
love that you're
like,
thinking of your audience and kind of catering to everybody's different interests and have something to offer for each sort of type of TikTok that people like watching.
yeah. And you
It's
do
very
too. I mean, that's like you always come back to that, like with that for yourself too. It's like making sure you've
Mhm.
got those 3 things for community,
Yeah.
especially because that's what people want to get on. They want to see that. They're used to that. And it's like
Mhm.
you don't want to
Yeah.
shake it
And
up.
that's something I always try and walk the line with too, between stuff for authors and stuff for readers, is that whatever content I make, I always like, it's a main principle of engagement that you always want everyone to feel like they're in on the joke. They understand what you're saying. So if I'm making content about being an author, it needs to be funny for someone who has no idea what, you know, BookBub is or something, like it needs to still be funny for everyone. And so yeah, I always feel like I'm trying to like make sure it feels very inclusive, like everybody can participate in whatever sort of goofiness I'm creating. Yeah.
I love that.
So
And
what's the next question?
it
Oh,
was
sorry, did
about
you have more to say about patching?
well, that was actually was what do I need in the draft bank? What kind of ratios should I be thinking about to keep a good balance on the platform while having downtime? And we're kind of answering that in a little bit. But I think like for me, having things in the draft bank, I just try to keep. I remember in the beginning being not wanting to for some reason it was a mental block for me to have too many drafts in there for some reason. And
Mm,
then once I started drafting, you can't stop me now.
yeah, it's like a library.
And I feel like just having the more the merrier. I think
Yeah.
aim for as many as you feel comfortable without overwhelming yourself, depending on your strategy, and do what you
Mhm.
feel is good for you so that you can have that downtime. Because if I know I've got 40 TikToks, which I know, or 116, then
Yeah.
I can go and tap out for several hours and tomorrow deal with it when I wake up.
I have a lot of ones that are just saved as, I've labeled them as like high energy reveal music or like point at 5 things and I haven't figured out what those 5 things are yet. I'm just like, that's what the sound is. But I will say, most of my drafts aren't recorded. Like I couldn't post them as they are. It's just the sound that I've saved in my drafts. but I will say it's always good to have a few thing, like even if it's just a duet without your face or something, recorded things saved in your drafts as well, kind of like break in case of emergency sort of drafts. Because my first book, when the High Mountain Court came out, my kids brought home a stomach bug, and all of us were very ill, and I couldn't film
Oh,
any TikToks for my release day or any day around it. And I had all of these sounds saved, but I hadn't recorded any of them yet. And thinking I would have plenty of time, but I was just like green and gross and it wasn't gonna happen. I
yeah.
had none of my normal energy to film. And I really wished I had just like kind of lip synced to some and then figured out what I was going to title it or what I was going to put over it later. So now I always have a few, even if it's just a duet without my face and just my book cover or something, just something there saved in case life happens and I'm just busy one day and I can't get to it. There's something there ready to go that I can just hit post without doing anything else to. So
Yeah,
it's good to have like one or two of those, I think, just in case.
definitely. I think I would definitely say for myself, I keep probably at minimum 2 duets will be
Mm.
saved in my drafts at a minimum, because I realize that same thing. There were days because I get migraines. And if I wake
Mm.
up with a migraine, I my anxiety will kick in if I don't post, because it's just like that thing of like, ah, you want to do this. And like, ah. And so it's like I almost will like reverse migraine, and like the migraine keeps
Mhm.
migrating itself. So I just figure having duets for those days when it's I still want to be consistent and to be like feeding TikTok and showing up to like, here's you
Yeah.
go, tuppence. But then to, not kill myself, which is like the
Mhm.
duets are so
Yeah.
great for, because it's one of the things that we both love about duets too is that like we're able to bring in it's our vibe of who we are, but it's about our books, or our reading
Mm.
community is in on the joke. And I
Mhm.
love that I'm getting people because of the duets, because if anybody's out there listening to this and goes like, oh, duets are so over, no, they're
They're
not.
not. Yeah, for
Great.
sure.
They're so much fun to do. And I have people that send me duets of these firemen that show up in my DMs, and
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
it because I get to play with my community, just like you with your thighs. You
Yeah.
get you play with your thighs, I'll play with my
I
firemen.
love playing with my thighs. Yeah. Oh no, look what we've done.
Here we go. And we're
But
there now.
yes, it's amazing how, and also now I feel like I'm doing a public service of sharing these like gorgeous videos of people and shaking their thick thighs, like,
You
and people
change
come
the
for that
people.
content now.
I love your comment section on those posts because it's empowering. It's just like that thing of like people like you do something, like you show up. I shared a duet 2 days ago because I usually show like hot firemen or whatever, like whatever is like striking me. It could be a funny thing, but this one was a fireman who, oh my God, I cried when I saw it. A little blind boy. They had the blind kids, and Blind Kids Can, I believe was the name of the charity. And so the little boy was feeling everything, and the fireman is talking to him while he was doing. I'm going to start crying thinking about it because it was just the
Speaking
sweetest.
of me going.
It is the sweetest thing. And I had a couple people DM me that it really touched them. And like one woman had commented on there. And it's one of the people that I've met because of this amazing community, about how, her grandmother was blind and she remembers this. And it started this conversation. Like I had put my phone down yesterday. I was like, I never thought that this post doing like 200 or 300 views would have like DM situation that became just like touching, of going,
Yeah.
wow, people that are affected by this duet that I just shared, because it made me like, I saw it and just started sobbing. So like, how beautiful is this?
Yes. And it's also a perfect example of how views don't always equate to like meaning of, if you meet someone who then is going to buy every single one of your books, shows up at every single one of your book events from a video that got 100 views, that video is so much more valuable than one that got 10,000 views and none of those people felt as connected to you, you know?
That's like, and that's like they're connected, they're feeling connected to me. Oh my God, my connection,
Mhm.
umbilical cord to them just got stronger because, we're just,
Yes.
everybody's feeling that same thing, looking at this beautiful thing of like, it just made me just feel, I just
Oh,
felt the
I love
community
that.
even that much more. Yeah.
We kind of deviated off of
Did
the
never.
content, but yeah, people get what we're saying. Having a kind of variety in there, having enough batched up and saved, and having some emergency ones. And I do think it's important to, people can tell when you show up and you're not having a good day. You can always see it when people are just not feeling it and they feel like they need to still record a video. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay to just not post for a day. Like, it's not going to ruin everything. If you can have the energy on a time when you're enjoying recording, maybe record a few extra ones just so you have them saved up. And then, as insurance for those days, because there's definitely many, many days of the week where I do not film any TikToks because I just do not feel like recording myself, and then there's other days where I film 20 because I'm having fun and it's, I'm enjoying it. So I feel like that's an important point you touched on, is that being protective of mental health and boundaries with your phone.
Yes, like make sure you've got that. And I definitely like that, setting that time aside to film if you can, or you find you're on a roll, just lean into it. And another thing too, I've noticed a couple of people that we know as well on TikTok that they're using the same sound and the same thing,
Mhm.
but then they're changing up what they're talking about. And each time it's a really cool, it pulls me in. And one of them is Isabel, who's using
Yes.
the sound, and it's one of Rihanna's, and she keeps showing
Yep.
up talking about tropes. I'm like, what a brilliant thing is. I love when a book talker stumbles into their thing that works
Yes.
for them, that is like building their community with the sound, and now it's her brand. So as soon as I
Yeah.
see her face up and I hear that song, I'm like, what trope, Isabel? What are we
Yes,
working
I was thinking the same thing. And what's great about it is you get something different each time. So you never scroll past because you're being delivered something new each time. It's not a repost of the same video. It's using the same sound transition, but
Yes.
with different payoffs each time,
Yeah.
which is great. Like, there's one person on BookTok who does book jokes,
Yeah.
and they kind of like dance out, and then like they land the punchline, and it's like that's like half of their content, and I just love that so much. And every time you want to stick around because you know what's going to happen. So
No,
there's a few sounds I have that I know always do well, like I have this the blinking one where it's
yes.
just like a blinking sound. I
Yes.
uh, I use that one with like when I've learned that like two celebrities are related,
Yes.
and
I saw that one.
it always does over 100,000 views. Like, it's bananas, but it has nothing to do with my books, right? Like, it's its own thing. But I know every time I pull that out that it just does crazy well. So it's funny in that. But yeah, if you find a sound that's working for you for your videos, it's okay to reuse that sound. And in fact, I've done this before where I've recorded the same sound like 5 or 6 times, and then I've put different words over it and posted it 5 or 6 different times, kind of like what we were talking about with Isabel. So yeah, I feel like it's quite good to kind of run with a sound if it's working with you for you. So it's okay to record the same sound a few times too.
Yes. And I was going to say as well, something that I did last night, because I'm also playing with doing every couple of days right now as I ramp up. Well, we are really like, this is fun Patreon answering today, because I'm like,
Yeah,
so much to say about this one.
we've got so
Um,
many tidbits for you.
how many But so I'm ramping up and doing like 2 posts and then one and two and then one. And yesterday I wanted
Mhm.
to do two, and it was late. I was tired. It was like 8 o'clock. It's late. It's 8 o'clock. Yes, you when, but it's like, I really don't feel, but I really want to put something up. And I started to use something I had, but I just wasn't feeling it at that moment. Like I was just having that moment, like I just need to walk away because I've spent a lot of time online today. I went and looked for one of my posts that were not that long ago about the book before the one I'm promoting now. But, I'm just going to put this in. This is my experiment. This one did really well. I'm going to reload it change the song to a new one and change the hashtags and just see what happens. And just put it up going, I'll check it in 30 minutes for fun, just
Yeah.
to see. And in that 30 minutes, it got a couple hundred views. I think we
Wow.
topped out at about 345, but I got 5 saves in 30 minutes on that. And that just made me go, worth it. It is worth
Yeah.
it. And I had a couple of readers that chimed in that I haven't seen in a while, which was really lovely, that were like, oh, I remember that. And like, that was my favorite scene. And it was nice to just get that check in, but then to see that people had saved it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like that. But yeah, it's like, what does it look like for you? I guess, what's going to be the thing to help you? You want to take care of your mental health and be able to turn off, do the thing that's going to make you feel good.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes just the messy, easy post is the good one, and it's okay to not have every single one be perfect. Were there any other questions? I feel like there was one more.
There is one more, and then that'll be us. And this is a nice bonus episode today.
Yeah.
We're offered.
Thank you to all of our patrons for these questions.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got bonus points as well if we give tips for this that this person can use without having to speak. So they would like to know about engaging. What are the 3 top tips for making content engaging?
Mm-hmm.
So
one of my tips is relatability. If it's something that somebody watches and can say same, like, oh my gosh, I do this too, that is a great one. So if it's, is it just me, and you don't even have to say that, it could be literally you staring off thinking, and then above your head going like, is it just me, or do
this?
Mondays suck, something that's kind of like universal, but also a little bit specific to you. That's kind of the like best way to be relatable, where it's something that like feels both universal and very niche. Those things always do really well. Another thing is asking for help. So asking for recommendations, asking for people's advice on something, asking, like, which dress should I wear? You don't even, I did that for a video that did really well because people all want to help you. And they helped me pick the dress I was going to wear. And I was just standing in front of the camera in 3 different dresses with the number 1, 2, 3 with music. So I wasn't talking at all, So that's another good one you can do without speaking as well. So relatability, content, asking questions is a good one. Asking for help or advice. What do you think, Anne?
I think I would have said this, asking questions. Ask questions of your audience to get to know them. That's and I like approaching the not the is it me, but am I alone? Doing that, that like,
am I the only one? Yeah, I do a lot of, I had one that just because it has the am I the only one is a great question, because it has the kind of outrage energy that algorithms like and support, without actually being aggressive or outraged at all. Like, but if you go in going, am I the only one who didn't know that like this and this? Everybody's like, wait, what? Listen in. Am I the only one who didn't know that you could, like sign up to this like newsletter where you got free ebook recommendations or something, but you're coming in with that kind of tone and energy. Those are really good. Although that is talking, but I love the, am I the only one, or is it just me ones? But you can also do that with just like, is it just me, or do you like to, dip your biscuits in your tea or something, something like that. And it could just be you filming your teacup, so if you even don't want your face on it, you could have the words and have the voice read out the words, so you don't have to talk, but it sounds like somebody's asking, so that's quite good too. But I do think questions are great for engagement, but also just like doing something. It doesn't even have to be a question. It could be like, when I get home and all of my kids want to like jump on top of me at once, and like people, when I get home and my dog immediately needs me for something, it's like, I feel like so many people can relate to that. And you're not asking a question, but you're just sharing an intimate part of your life that's actually quite not intimate, but quite universal, but it feels quite intimate. And like that is a great way to get people to comment too. I think one I shared just recently that got a lot of engagement was me lamenting the fact that they're going to recast Henry Cavill in The Witcher.
There's been
And
a lot of
so many people,
that.
and it was the office sound
Mhm.
of like, will I get over it? No. But life goes on. And it was literally me with no filter, just like lying on my bed, looking off into the distance with that sound. So like that's quite an easy one to do, and that had heaps of comments. So it's, you can get crafty with it. You don't always have to ask questions either.
I think knowing that people love, when you come down to like the psychology of it, as people, we love to talk about ourselves. It is the subject we know about. And if you ask people a question, and the beginning of TikTok, when I was getting on there, my journey, I remember going on and just asking, like, hey, I want to know who sees my TikToks. Where in the world are you?
Yes.
That blew up. Like that was one of those I shut down because I went to open the app and it was like 99 plus. And I was like, I don't even understand what that means. And then I looked and the post had blown up. It's like, oh, wow, there's so many people commenting on this. But for days, I think for up to 6 weeks, that post kept happening, had nothing to do with my books. Nothing at all. And that was also back when, before I knew I should, hey, maybe drop something in about me being an author. I even think my handle was still like Miss Ann Kemp and not Ann Kemp author. But conversations to be able to chat with people in different parts of the world. Cause I was back, that was I love commenting. If you come in and comment, I'm going to talk to you because that's how I am. And I was talking to people in all different parts of the world. It was just fun. Like it's definitely one of those like a very community moment. But it is like you ask these questions and what can you ask? What can you share of yourself? Because it's the same thing as sitting down in a coffee shop and getting to know someone or meeting them at like a meeting of like minds. You're just separated a little bit on the phone, but it's social media. Be social, show up to the
Yeah.
party, ready to have a conversation with your like goofy besties, because that's
Yeah.
why we're there.
But that is a good point. It's something we talk about too, is get to know the people who are following you. Like
Yeah.
ask them some questions, get to know your community. What do they like? What don't they like? Because, like you're trying to build a readership, you're trying to build a community, and you're also trying to provide content to them that they will appreciate. And so the more you know about them, the better you're going to be able to do that, so make sure you are getting to know your audience,
Yeah.
so that's a great way of doing it. Questions and engagement and sharing some funny things about yourself.
Yeah. Invest in them because they'll invest in you as with anything.
100%.
Invest
Yeah.
in them. That's it. That's our
That
question.
was great. Thank you for all of those awesome questions.
Thank you.
And yeah, we will do another Patreon Q&A next month. So if you want to have your questions answered, make sure you hop onto our Patreon, patreon.com/BookToktors. And yeah, we'll see everybody for another BookToktors appointment next week.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.